Hi, welcome to Unify study. Good morning. Good morning, Kishori, Satya, Kirtana, Puvendran, Bhavani, Praveena. Good morning. Good morning, Purnima. Lekha, good morning. Good morning, Bhuvaneshwari. Good morning, all. Is my audio clear? Any external noise? My video clear? Yes? Good morning, Pradeepa. Good morning. Good morning, Amu, Kirtana. How was the last class marathon? How was the last marathon? You enjoyed? We enjoyed the marathon. Super session. Thank you, Bhavani. Yes. Very good. Good morning, Divya. Yes. Good morning, Priyanka. So today we are going to have a session on research aptitude. So we have completed the most important questions, most important topics and PYQs in our YouTube session, right? And also we are doing in our app session, we are doing the latest patent PYQs questions. So those who wish to join, please do join in our app session so that you can enjoy the latest patent questions. Yes. Okay. Shall we start? Yes, ma'am. It's very fine. Thank you. Gopal. Good morning. Okay. So we'll start the session. So today we are going to see the second unit of your UGC NET paper 1, that is on research aptitude. So today we are going to cover the methods of research. Definitely in all the years we are getting one single question from the methods of research, types of research, right? So today we are going to see all the types of research in one single video. So I'll be giving you the key points of how to remember by means of mind mapping, so that you can remember all the keywords with an examples. Okay, take your notebooks and pen, take notes so that you will be remembering all the keywords. We will be looking at the keywords. You will be remembering all the methods using the keywords by means of mind mapping. You will be going to study the methods of research. Yes, very good. Meenakshi, Singha, Meghalai, Karthikeni, Sheshan, Anand, Sophie. Yes. So let's start. Why we do research? What do you mean by research? With some basic 2 questions we will get into research. So why do we do research? We need to get deep into it. We need to get some more answer from that research. That we call research. I want to do research. I am going to search again. That we call research, right? So when I do research, there are different types of research with subject to the content, with subject to the area, right? There are different types of research. So we are first going to talk about the descriptive research. So you have an idea of research, right? We are going to do something, search again. Everything is there in this universe. We have everything is there, but we are going to search again. What is there? What is there? What is there behind? We are going to do it. So on that basis, we have many different classifications, right? There are classification based on the objective. The research is being classified based on the outcome. The research is being classified based on the logic. The research is being classified based on the process, right? It is being based on the idea. So there are many classification has been done based on these concepts. So what do you mean by objective? To have some goal, right? Move towards a goal, we do some research. We will have a defined point. This is what I am going to find out. I am going to do a research. That is objective based research. What do you mean by outcome based research? Definitely I need to have an outcome. Okay, I need to have an outcome. The product like thing we need to have. That is outcome based research. What do you mean by logic based research? Logic means was all your deductive and inductive research comes under the logic based research. What do you mean by process? Process is nothing but a sequence of steps. We call it as process. So based on the process, we are having different types of research. So on these classifications, we are going to do our research. Okay, yes. So first one comes your objective. First, on the basis of objectives, what are all the types of research? On the basis of objective, the first research comes the descriptive research. What do you mean by descriptive? In question paper and all, we have a section called descriptive answers. What you will be doing under descriptive questions? Let me know what you will be doing under the descriptive research. I will be giving you with key points. So kindly tell me what you will be doing under descriptive research questions in the examination. Under descriptive, what we will be doing? We will be writing answers, right? If you would have studied something in their classrooms before the examination, we will be simply writing whatever been asked in that question, right? So that we call it as a descriptive questions. Similarly, when we come to descriptive research, right, it comes under a primary research method just to gather information and to tell about a particular problem, what has been happened. Okay, to talk about a particular problem, and that we call it as a descriptive research. Okay, so I'll go to the problem, something would have happened there, I'll be just addressing what has happened and why it has been happened. Yes, exactly. Explain. Just I'll tell what has been happened. I don't know why it has been nothing I know, right? I'll be just telling them what has been happened. Okay, and that research we call it as what? Descriptive research. Okay, descriptive is, as you said, explanatory. Yes, it's nothing but self-explanation will be given, and that we call it as what? Self-explanatory, and that we call descriptive based question. So see here, this will be talking about who, what, where, when, and how. These questions will be answered in this kind of descriptive questions. Okay, when there's a descriptive question, you will be asking who, what, where, when, how. These questions will be addressed. In some cases, some research will be of qualitative research and some cases will be of quantitative research. Now, what is this qualitative? What is this quantitative? What do you mean by quality? Quality, we define it as what? In terms of its something will be defined quality. Milk we determine in terms of quality of the milk, quality of a person, right? Quality of this book will be telling you. And what do you mean by quantity? It numbers. Whatever we count, we call it as what? Numbers. Okay, whatever, yes, except y, yes, full. Whatever we call by terms of count in terms of numbers, we call quantitative research. So in research, when I do a measurable number of things, right, whenever I do with numbers, whenever I work with numbers, that is quantitative research. Whenever I work with the words of people, and that we call it as qualitative research. That will be a deep concept we will be learning in the upcoming slides. So descriptive is nothing but what? Self-explanatory research. You remember your descriptive answers that we give in our examinations. Okay, everything has been happened, we will be telling about that particular problem. See, it has been happened, that is what the thing. So that we describe in the descriptive research. Okay, example. What can be the example? When you take census, CENSUS, when I take census, when I take survey, when you want to take a census about the population of India, everybody has born, right? No one can go and change, right? We'll be go and check each and every home, how many of people are there in each house, and we'll give a big statistical list that this many number of male are there, these many number of female are there, these many number of children are there, male are there, female are there, everything will be giving. So that is an example of what a descriptive research. What we will do in survey also the same thing. Everything has been happened, I'll be just taking the numbers, and that we call it as what? Survey. Okay, this is an example of a descriptive research. Clear? You got the point? What do you mean by descriptive research? Yes? Okay. So when I take a descriptive research, it gives me the state of affairs. Nothing, the keyword state of affairs. What has been the status of that particular instance, we will be calling under the descriptive research. Yes, when I take descriptive research, I have two types of research. One is longitudinal research and another one is longitudinal research, and another one is cross-sectional research. Yes, clear. Please kindly do take notes. Cross-sectional research. What do you mean by longitudinal research? Have you seen a pregnant woman? Have you seen a pregnant woman? Starts from the first month to the 9th month. First month to the 9th month. What will be being done? The single women will be monitored throughout the 9 months. Throughout these 9 months, the person's details will be described detailed every month, and this study we call it as what? Longitudinal research. This we call it as what? Longitudinal research. Yes, here what we'll be doing? The study of data collects about the single person, this woman, right? There will be a woman, and this woman will be studied throughout these 9 months, and that we call it as what? Longitudinal research. Yes. What do you mean by cross-sectional research? I am going to a mall. Okay, I am going to a mall and I am going to want data to be collected. I want data to be collected from all sorts of people. You think at mall we have only one set of people? No, in mall we have different age group of people will be there, and I will be taking data from all the group of people about a product in that mall or about that mall. If I want to take a survey about that mall, what I will be doing? I will be giving pamphlets to all the people whoever enters that mall. I will be giving that the kid, I will be giving the older person, I will be giving the middle-aged person, women, female, everyone I will be giving. But this will be happened between 9:30 to, just an example, 9:30 to 12:30. Okay, between this specified period, I will be interacting with all the people who enter into the malls, and that we call cross-section. But see, here how many people I am taking as an instance? Only one people I am taking as an instance. But here in cross-sectional, I take all the people as an instance. Okay, all the people, but there I am being governing at 9 months of time only one woman. Here in this particular time I am taking different people, I am doing my analysis. Clear? Yes, and this we call it as cross-sectional research. This we call it as cross-sectional research, comes under the descriptive research. Yes, over the period of time. The keyword for longitudinal research is over the period of time. Note down the keyword. Here we can use over the period of time. But here in cross-sectional research, it is a one-time study. It is a one-time interaction. I will be looking at that people at that moment only. So the keyword is one-time interaction. Yes. Yes. Here one variable is taken into consideration and they will be considered for a long time. Here only one time I am interacting with many different peoples and I will be getting the details about this one. Clear? Yes, very good. So this is about your descriptive research. So in descriptive we can talk about survey, we can talk about any kind of longitudinal research, cross-sectional research we can take it as an example. Okay, yes, next. So first one research is over. Next comes to fundamental research. What do you understand by this image? 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 Thomas Alva Edison is this, and the bulb is there, right? Thomas Alva Edison is that person, and there what we had, a bulb is there. Okay, so what is this is called a basic research. It's called a basic research which he identified long before. Okay, it is a basic research where he gave us a thing called a bulb. Okay, is that same bulb we are using today? The answer is yes or no. Are we using the same bulb today? No, the bulb has taken so many different forms. Yes, this bulb is called as a basic research where this gives addition to knowledge. This gives addition to knowledge. Yes, and this is academic oriented. This is academic oriented. Yes, and this is very extensive in nature. Extensive means what? We will be using in all different areas, all different areas. Okay, this is very intellectually challenging, right? When Thomas Alva Edison invented this bulb, what happened? 999 times he made the bulb to glow, but what happened? It went failure. At the 1000th time the bulb was glowing, right? And that is the basic. It's an intellectually challenging concept which he has been found, right? And that we call it as what? It's a pure research, or we call it as a basic research. Okay, it's a pure research or a basic research. These are the keywords for the fundamental research. Yes, okay. Here comes another research called applied research. What is this? Can you tell me what is this? What is this image? Can you tell me what is this image? Is my face covering that one, or it is okay? Now can you identify what is this? Good morning, Nandini. Can you tell me what is this? Actually it is a train. No, it's not a moon. In moon we have a seat and all, Mani Jain. It is a train. It is a AC coach. Oh, sunlight, moon. Very good. Is it looking like moon? Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, it is a light. It is a bulb. It is a AC coach. Okay. Have you seen in AC coach we will be having a light in each one's place. In each one berth we will be having. That too in second AC and all when we go means each one's berth will be having a light. Okay. Why that? There is the same bulb where you have discovered by Thomas Alva Edison, right? That bulb has taken many different forms. At our home, in our public places, right? It is not light, it is a bulb. I want to mean you as a bulb, right? I want to mean you it as a bulb, which the bulb taken a place in a train in a form of a bulb for a traveler who travels in a second AC or third AC. He will be having a private bulb. Clear? So see what they have done. The bulb, it has been invented by Thomas Alva Edison. Now he had taken, applied in a place of a train for a AC traveler. Yes, different kinds of people thinking different dimensions. Yes, Mani Jain. Yes, you understand my concept. In fundamental research, the bulb has been invented. There the knowledge has been added. But now that bulb has taken different forms, like is being applied in different areas, like in a train. In our transport we have been using, at home we are using at different places, right? At home we are using, at vehicles we are using, at all kind of transports we are using, right? In microwave oven we have bulb. Clear? In AC we have bulb. See the application of bulb in various different domains, and that we call it as applied research. Now we get the point of this image. Now you get the point of this image. Yes? Yes. New things, a new version is added to the existing one. Exactly right. Yes. So see what is that? What is there in this image is AC coaches have individual lights in their births. Individual lights they will be having, right? And here they have given a solution to the problem which exists in the train. When you go for normal second class means light is a common thing. If anybody wants to off means we have to off. But in second AC and all we can't say, right? Because people are paying more, so they need individual privacy. So they will be having their own water bottlet and bulb, all the features they will be having. And that we call it as what? Solution to the problems. So that we call it as applied research. And that we call applied research. What it is called as an innovation. It is nothing but what? An innovation. Okay, we call it as what? Innovation. These are all the keywords. And another keyword is where we using for a practical use to solve a problem. Right? Practical use to solve a problem, we call it as an applied research. Yes, clear? Clear? You got the point of applied research? Applied research? Yes? And when I come to applied research, it will be very much intensive in nature. What do you mean by intensive? This bulb is meant for the AC coaches and there we use bulb. Yes? When we go to home, we will be having a night lamp. That will be a kind of a structure it has. And that is an applied research. So, applied research is done to solve a specific I have restarted my video. Now it's coming. Now it's coming. Now it's coming. Now it's coming. Yes, ma'am. I am come again. Now okay? Now okay? Yes, right, okay. Actually, yesterday it was rain, so we had some current issues, electricity issues. I'm so sorry for the... Sorry. Okay, we'll go. Now okay? Yes. Yes. So, you understand the applied research? You understand applied research? Yes? Okay. So the key words are solution to the problem, innovation, practical use to solve a problem, and it is intensive in nature. See what in my intensive is here, this bulb is being used for the train. Yes. So similarly there are some bulb that we use for a vehicle. There are some bulbs which we use for a microwave oven. There are some bulbs that we use for refrigerators, not AC, it is refrigerators. So, and that we call it as what? It is intensive in nature. So, whenever we apply something, it will become intensive in nature, and that we call it as applied research. It clear? Yes. Okay. So, next we move to next research is ex post facto research. What do you mean by ex post facto research? What do you mean by ex? Ex means which has happened before, right? Yes. Intensive means specific to solve the problem. Yes, Anand. Write it down. Exactly right. Intensive means for specific problem we write. Yes. Very good. Next. So next we move to ex post facto research. Ex means what? Ex post facto. I give you by word. Ex means what? It happened somewhere before. I am just talking about the fact. Yes, I am just talking about the fact, and that we call historical is different, Mani Jain. Historical is different with respect to. Both are same in some cases, but they have a unique difference between ex post facto and historical research. We will see. So see, ex post facto is a thing which has happened before. Example, when you take a business. I want to analyze the what was their last month business. I want to know about the last month business. Can I go back and change anything? No, I cannot go back and change anything. I'll be just looking what has been occurred and I'll be studying. And this is mainly applied in the area of social sciences. In the area of social sciences and business organization, this kind of research is being applied. This kind of research is being applied in the social sciences and business organization. Yes, it has happened. I cannot change. Here the keyword is they cannot manipulate the variables. Variables cannot be manipulated. Variables cannot be manipulated. What do you mean by manipulated? I cannot change. I cannot change how many sales has been done, what is the profit has been gained, what loss has been done. I cannot change any of those variables. I cannot change the number of customers who have come in, number of customers who have gone out. I cannot change. I can just tell them this much of customers have come in, this much of customers has gone out. That's I can tell this much of sales has been done, this much of loss has been done. Clear? And this we call it as what? Ex post facto. Here the word that you have to remember is the variables cannot be manipulated. Right? Remember this word. No variables can be manipulated, has to be kept in the mind in the terms of ex post facto research. Yes, clear? Which has been happened before. Yes. Clear? Yes. Next one. Okay, so this is a course which we are given the Unify study app, right? Those who wish to take your paper 1 and with the latest pattern questions, right? Latest pattern questions of June 2023. Please kindly do attend the PYQ practice course paper 1 in Unify study app, right? You can go to this website, and if you click, we'll be having the link for getting the options. Okay, and those who wish to take computer science along with the paper 1, they can opt for this app, where we can have a combo of your PYQs of computer science and also with the paper 1. Okay, so those who wish to take paper 1 alone, you can go for this option. Okay, and we'll be having the unique features of this one is we are doing what, one day one DA is the main focus of this class. We are doing one day one DA daily we are doing, and along with the conceptual PYQ discussion, and at the weekend we have the revision mock test series we are doing with live. Okay, and similarly with respect to paper 2, we have computer science and also with UGC net paper 1, and this cost around. Okay, if you want to have any details, please kindly do the check unifiedstudy.com. Okay, yes. Next comes exploratory research. What do you mean by exploratory? See, before we seen descriptive, right? Here next comes exploratory. What do you mean by explore? What do you mean by explore? What do you mean by explore? I used to get ask one question as an example whenever I used to explore. Which place you wish to visit? Which place you wish to visit? To make you understand, I am asking you this question. Exploratory. Literature review, yes. Case studies explore. Okay. Anand is getting too into the content of paper 1 research. I think so. I asked you the question, which place you wish to visit? There will be some place, right, to wish to visit. Which place? Enlarge. Okay. But nobody is answering the question which I am asking. Slightly get out of the content and answer my question. You will be having a dream place to visit, right? Himalayas, Navya, Ooty, very good. Ooty, Himalaya, Taj Mahal. Guys, 2 minutes, come out of the content and get into the practical life. Ooty, okay. Navya is going to Himalayas now, mentally. Mani has gone to Ooty. Full moon, Taj Mahal. Satya has gone to Ooty. Simla, very good. More, I want more places. Ladakh, very good. Where Ladakh we can see what? The universe we can see. Milky Way galaxy we can see. Tanjavur, very good. This is a dream place. Okay. When we say these are Maldives, very good. When we say these are the places that we wish to visit, definitely we would have read something, we would have seen in a film, we would have seen something in the books, right, in our stories, we would have listened something to them. By having something in our mind, Shirdi, very good, in our mind, we move towards thing to expand. What you said is right, to expand, to get more details, clear? And this study we call it as exploratory research. You understand what do you mean by exploratory research? Navya said Himalaya. She would have learned or seen something about Himalayas and been inspired by that place she wished to visit, right? She want to go to that place, so she knew very few things about Himalayas. But when you go there, you will be explore more and more we will be exploring. Am I right? So before telling Himalayas or Ooty or Taj Mahal, we know only very little things about that. That's a beginning stage. We move from the beginning stage. It's a beginning stage, right? With whatever we have with our hand, and we move towards and we'll do a big thing. Clear? And that we call it as exploratory research. We call it as exploratory research. You understand? Yes? Yes? So we start with beginning with a little known. I'll start with a little known and I move towards what? And I move towards more. I do more research. Yes. And this research I call it as exploratory research. So before getting into exploratory, before getting into Himalayas or Ooty or Taj Mahal, what we will do? We will do a planning. Okay, I wish to go to Himalayas. I want this much amount. I need to have some 75,000 with my hand to do a visit to Himalayas for all the facilities like train, bus, transportation, food, their package, everything. I need to have a 75,000 rupees of amount with me. Right, whether I am able to manage the 75,000 or not, and that is called as what? Feasibility. It's called feasibility. I'll be checking with feasibility. Okay, with this thing can I explore more things? I will be doing feasibility. Okay, so this kind of things will be done inside the exploratory research. Got the point? Got the point about exploratory? So, with knowing something in my mind about Himalayas, what I'll be doing is get into the concept to gain more information, to get more clarity, to develop more understanding about that particular thing. I'll be get into it, and that is the purpose of exploratory research. The purpose is what? What is the purpose of exploratory research? To gain. I'll be doing so much of research. I'll be doing Google. I'll be asking my friends. Okay, hey, what will be there, what are all the speciality, where to go, everything I would have done. Okay, through this I will be gaining many background information about that place. Yes, and I'll be getting what? I'll be having more clarity about that concept. Yes, about the problem of getting into Himalayas. Okay, I'll be getting some kind of an hypothesis. I'll be developing hypothesis. Going to Himalayas gives me what? Pleasure. Gives me pleasure. I'm telling. If I go to Himalayas, I'll be getting fullest pleasure. My heart will be fulfilled. I'll be telling you. So these things are the purpose of doing the exploratory research. Clear? Yes. So to make doing this exploratory research, where we get data from things, we'll be getting data from Google, we'll be getting data from my friend. Our friend will used to come and sit. My daughter's friend told that she was going to Malaysia. She was telling, Amma, I'm also going to Malaysia. So she got an idea of going to Malaysia from her friend, right? So she's getting data, secondary data. Through her friend she's getting data. So this is the point about exploratory. Exploratory starting from little one, moving towards expanding, where we'll be doing a feasibility kind of a study, and it is mainly to gain background information, to have more clarity and to develop hypothesis. These are all the major things about the exploratory research. Yes, clear? Yes, hope clear. Next, what do you mean by historical research? What do you mean by historical research? Historical research means what? This is also the same thing as happened in ex post facto, which has already happened before, and we are telling what has happened. We have taken already happened before, now we are telling what has been happened. Where this has some historical value. Historical value. And that kind of research we call it as historical research. Okay, this is similar to that of an ex post facto. Similar to that of ex post facto. Yes, similar. This is also going to talk about the past events, but that past event will have kind of an impact. This is also going to talk about the past event. That past event will be having some kind of an internal criticism. Okay, internal criticism. You take some film. now we have that we have Ponniyin Selvan 2 film, right? All state people know Ponniyin Selvan 2. It talks about what? Historical. They have done the historical research. They have taken all sorts of evidences. With that thing, they have made a film. And what is there is an internal criticism is there. Even though they tell this is a fact, right? All the historical stories have their own internal criticism. Right? Yes, clear? Yes, clear? So, in historical research, it is similar to ex post facto, but in that research, it has some kind of a historical value in that research. This we call it as historical research. Clear? Yes, clear? Yes? Any doubts so far? Any doubts so far? Any doubts so far? Clear? Yes, clear. Yes. Yes. Very good. Very good. No man, clear. Okay. Very good. Shall I go to the next one? Okay, I'll go to the next one. Very good. Next research is experimental research. Experimental research means what? Whatever the science experiments comes. See, before we have done some things in social sciences, right? Social sciences research. Like what are all things we done in social science? Ex post facto, descriptive. Descriptive sometimes comes in qualitative and quantitative. But ex post facto and all we do in social science research. But experimental research is done purely in science-based research. Okay, science-based research. Where here we have some concepts like variables. We have some types of variables. Yes, we will check independent variable, dependent variable, confounding variable, extraneous variable. We have different kinds of variables that we will be using here in experimental research, like independent variable, dependent variable, confounding variable, extraneous variable. We will see each one variable what is it. Okay, what each one variable is. And we have a concept. What do you mean by variable? What do you mean by variable? Variables. Say example, in teaching aptitude I taught you, I am the independent variable, you are a dependent variable, and the content that I am taking is there in between, right? Yes, find new from the old one. Okay, here's the independent variable will be the cause. Independent variable will be the cause. So whenever I do a science experiment, there will be some cause will be there to be taken, and that we call it as cause. Independent variable. IB is nothing but what? Independent variable. Note down, those who are new to this concept, please kindly note down. Independent variable. Hope you all like the session. Are you all doing revision? Those who are new to the concept, can you able to understand? Yes? Yes? Those who are new to the things, you can understand the things? Yes, if you say yes, I will be happy. If you say yes, I will be happy. Yes. Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you. So what do you mean by independent variable? In a science experiment, right? When I am doing science of about, yes, very good. Very good. Very good. Okay, I take example of smoking. Okay, there is a person who smokes. Okay, there is a person who smokes cigarettes. Okay, I give an example. There is a person who smokes cigarette. Right. So, what is the cause of this experiment is smoking. What is the cause of this experiment? What is the cause of this experiment? I say smoking is the cause of this experiment. Okay, right. SMOKING, smoking is the cause of this experiment. Okay. What is the dependent variable? When a person smokes, what will happen? His lungs will be affected. His lungs will be affected. Okay. The effect can be dealt on what? The lungs. The effect can be dealt on what? The lungs or heart. Yes, yes, yes. Heart disease, yes. Lungs disease, heart disease. That's what I am telling you. In heart, what you will be seeing? In heart or in lungs, I can see what? I can see cancer. I can get heart attacks. These are the effect. Exactly, Anand. When a person smokes, the effect can be seen on his lungs or in heart in terms of getting cancer or in terms of getting a heart attack. It's an effect which we are going to be assumed. Okay. And in between there are some variables. In between there are some variables and they are called the extraneous variables. What do you mean by extraneous variables are? See, suppose that some person will be smoking for a long time. Okay. Extraneous variables like the age, the duration of how long he smokes. Okay. But at the same time he is doing exercise. And these things we call it as what? Extraneous variables. These things we call it as what? Extraneous variables. You understand? You understand? Yes? Yes? You understand what do you mean by these three variables? Yes? Yes. Okay. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. There is another variable called confounding variable. This variable is what is, this will not be in the experiment at all. If see I am taking you class, you are listening. In between are children, either your children or my children or some external things, not external, they will come. They will not be in the part of an experiment, but they will be doing some kind of a disturbance and that will affect my research. And that will affect my research. And that I call it as a confounding variables. I used to tell my daughter as this thing. Whenever I am taking class, she will come there and disturb something and she is a confounding variable. She is not at all in the experimental setup. Myself, students, you, my PPT, my internet connection, my electricity will be the main thing. But daughter is not at all in the experiment at all. She will come and disturb so that my teaching will be affected, your listening will be affected, right? And that we call it as confounding variable. It will not be there in the experiment. The variable will not be there in the experiment, but it will disturb the setup. You understand? Will not be in the experiment, but it disturbs. I take example whenever I teach my daughter as an example. You got it? Yes? Clear? Yes. So independent, dependent, confounding, extraneous variable. Independent variable is the main cause. Dependent is the effect. Extraneous, with respect to that object, there will be some kind of a parameters which describes that person. Okay, that is extraneous. Confounding, which will not at all in the experiment at all, but that variable will affect the relation with the affects the experiment, and that we call it as what? Confounding variable. Okay, clear? Yes? Yes. So this is about the experimental research. Okay ma'am, what are all the keywords that we have to remember in experimental researches? We have to remember these variables. That is, independent variable will be the cause, the dependent variable will be the effect, Okay, effect, this we have to remember, and we have to remember manipulation is possible. Manipulation is possible. How? How manipulation is possible? I can manipulate as experiment is being taken under a closed controlled environment. It is under controlled environment. Have you seen the science experiments and all? It will be under a controlled environment. It will be done. So they know what to do, what not to do, what will happen if this accident occurs. Everything will be determined, and they work towards that particular point. They want this answer to be come as a result. So everything is determined. They move towards the hypothesis, right? And it works under a controlled environment. These are all the keywords comes under the experimental research. Please kindly note down the keywords. These things are the keywords of experimental research. Cause and effect, manipulation is possible, controlled environment are the basic important terms of experimental research. Okay, there is a control over the variables. Here I will be having the control over variables. If I smoke less means what will happen? The effect will be reduced. The effect will be reduced. Yes, and that we call it as what? Experimental research. Clear? Yes. Note down the keywords. In each and every research there will be a keyword. Kindly note it down. Next point. Quantitative research versus qualitative research. What do you mean by quantitative research? I have told you that whatever we are going to measure in terms of numbers we call quantitative research. Whatever we are going to take in terms of words we tell it's a qualitative. I'll give you a better example. If I want to do some kind of a research about a student's class mark, okay, I want to know the average score of a class. Okay, I want to get the average score of a class. What I will be doing? I will be getting all the marks in terms of Excel. I will be getting the average for individual subject, and so I will be getting the average score. Right? Average score of a class. So what I am doing here? I am working with the class mark sheet. Mark sheet which is in terms of Excel sheet I work. Right, and this type of research I call it as quantitative research. Same thing when I do it as a qualitative research means what? I have understood some boys are getting low marks. What I will be doing is I am go and sit along with the student and I will ask him, hey, what is the problem? Why have marks have been gone down? Do you have any kind of a personal problem or any kind of an issue? Just kindly tell me. And that boy will tell me, no, this is the problem I am facing. So that is why I am not able to do it. How can I able to? This kind of research we call qualitative research. You understand? Here I work with the numbers. Here I work with the words. You understand what is qualitative and quantitative now? Yes? Can we work numbers with qualitative research with the example? Yes or no? Yes? So this is quantitative. Now you tell me, now I have told you many types of research. Now you tell me which kind of research will comes under the quantitative research, which types of research will comes under qualitative research. Can you tell me now? Yes, can you tell me? Now you tell me what all the types of research will comes under the quantitative type and what all the research will comes under the qualitative type. Tell me. We have seen so many research, right? Tell me. Types of quantitative research, types of qualitative research. I hope you have given, you have understood means you can tell me. So if you tell me right answer for this one so that I can move more into it in the upcoming classes. Yes, please. Okay, I'll give you. See, descriptive research. I told you, right, census. I told you example is census, right? Census work with the numbers. So census will comes under the quantitative rate of research also. Experimental research. Experimental research. This also comes under what? Numericals, numbers. When I do science experiments, I work with numbers. Okay, that comes under the example of experimental research, science based research. Yes, this comes under experimental research. And we have some research called survey and all, survey research. And we have correlational research. What do you mean by correlational? When I want to find the relationship between two variables, I call correlational research. And these are the researches comes under the quantitative research. Tell me the research which comes under qualitative research. Qualitative research. Historical research comes under what? When I talk about Ponniyin Selvan, is Ponniyin Selvan quantitative research? Is Ponniyin Selvan 2 is quantitative research? Yes or no? Yes or no? Is Ponniyin Selvan is quantitative research? Tell me. Qualitative. Yes. Yes. It's qualitative rate of research, historical research. Okay, right. Whenever I do, very good, super, very good, very good, very. So, what all the tell me other research which comes under qualitative, which we have studied so far. Yes. Okay. So, we have studied historical. So, whatever comes with the terms of words, right, we call it as a qualitative research. Okay, historical research. There we have another type of research called ethnography research. No doubt. I am telling you now the types of qualitative research. I am going to tell you the type of qualitative research. Please kindly do note. What do you mean by ethnography research? Ethnography research are when we study about the culture of the people. When we study about the culture of the people, I call it as ethnography. Yes, whenever I study about the culture of the people, if you go for a tribal village, right, go to the tribal village and you just study about their culture, their food habits, okay, their type of clothing, what they wear, culture of the people, when I study means, and that I call it as what? Ethnography research. What I will do is, see, it comes under what? Qualitative research. Here, how I will get to know about the culture of the people? I'll go and I will sit with the people and I talk to them and listen to their music, listen to their words, listen to the way of living. Everything I will record and I will do my research. And that I call it as what? Ethnography research. And here, the main thing is I have to keep in mind is the people's perspective. The people's view. I need to have the view of the people in my mind, and that we call it as a ethnography research. We call it as a ethnography research. Yes, and we have other more types of qualitative research. We will see one by one. We have a phenomenal research. What do you mean phenomenological research means? Phenomenological, Logical. Okay, phenomenological research. I am sorry, I am very poor in pronouncing especially this word. I practiced more, but it is not coming to my tongue. Phenomenological research, yes. Grounded theory, I will come. What do you mean by phenomenological research means? If you visit a person who is there in jail, right? Don't think that I am giving examples from films so that we will remember. That's why I am giving examples. There is a Kamal Haasan film called Virumandi, right? Virumandi. I think it will not be visible here. Okay. There is a film called Kamal Haasan film Virumandi. What they will be doing is a reporter will go into the jail and will ask each and every person and do research, right? and sometimes they will go and approach the family, and they will ask them how you feel, or how you suffer after your husbands went to jail and all, when he asks this question, right? And such kind of research called phenomenological research. After that phenomenon has happened, in general, we can also give one more example, that is tsunami, right? Tsunami. After tsunami has happened, going to that victim's place, and I will be asking them how you have been faced at that time, now how you have been changed, how your life has been changed. That type of questions can be asked, and that type of research we call it as phenomenological research. And that research we call it as what? Phenomenological research. Yes? Yes? Yes. Yes. Next we move to grounded theory. What do you mean by grounded theory? Get deep into the fact. Get deep into the fact of how it has been happened. And that we call it as what? Grounded theory. Grounded theory. Whenever I want to know about some people, I will be doing just get deep into that concept, and that type of research we call it as what? Grounded theory. Okay? Yes? Yes. So I will be getting into the person, and I will explore more by asking more questions to them, and that type of research I call it as what? Grounded theory research. If I want to know about some kind of tribal people, I want to know more. More and more means I will be giving them a topic, and I will go in depth. I will be going in depth of that content, and that I call it as the grounded theory. Yes, clear? So these are the major types of quantitative type of research and qualitative type of research. Now we will go with few questions, and then I will tell you what all points we have discussed. It's already 11. Okay. Just we have 24 questions. We will just go through. Hypothesis testing. What do you mean by hypothesis testing is, we will be given a point which we have to test the outcome. Okay, you remember in that way. The outcome which we have to test, and that is hypothesis testing. Those who are new to the concept of hypothesis, I am giving them a clue. That's all. Which results into either affirmation or disaffirmation is the explicit concern in which methods of research. I have given you the question part by part so that you can answer. Hypothesis testing means what? Something we have to think of the outcome. This is the outcome I am going to test. Okay, this is the outcome I am going to test. So that you assume, those who are new to the topic, which results into either affirmation or disaffirmation is the explicit concern in which methods of research. You can answer it at the poll. First, you identify which one can be eliminated. Which one can be eliminated? In which one we will not have that outcome that we know before, and we will not test. In which one? Yes, very good, very good. Everybody is giving right answer. Okay, very good, very good. Very good. A and D can be eliminated. Historical can be definitely eliminated. No other talk. So D option eliminated. So we have to think with the A, B and C only. B is common. So think about A and think about C. B has to come compulsorily. Why? Because in experimental research I will be testing whether it comes this answer or not, positive or negative. Explicit concern means that is the main focus of my research. So experimental research will move towards a particular objective, right? So that will be the main concern. So experimental research will be there. Descriptive and ex post facto. Take these two things. In ex post facto also I will be having this thing, determination, this I need to do. This we have to, outcome has to be reached, right? And that we call it as ex post facto. So these two things will be in the answer. A will not come. Okay, A will not come. B and C will be the right answer. Next question. Faster. Hope you like the session. Next question. Which type of research encourages participants' perspective? In descriptive only, frame hypothesis but not test. Yes, not testing. Not testing. Because it will be telling just senses only, right? I cannot test their senses. Yes. This just now only I told you. Now only I told you. In which research we have the participant's perspective. The view of a participant I have to consider. Very good. Divya, Purnima, Vetri, Anand, Full Moon, Saravanan, Bhavani, Pravina, Madhumita. Very good. In all kind of quantitative type of research, we do see hypothesis testing, Seetal. Right? Hypothesis means it is all based on a controlled environment, right? In those experiments, we do hypothesis testing. We will see in hypothesis topic. In whichever quantitative type of research comes, there we will be doing hypothesis testing. Yes, ethnography. Ethnography, very good, super. Ethnography. Here I will be taking the perspective of each and every individual, okay, to come to a conclusion. That is, ethnography is the culture of people. Okay, very good, very good. I given you the answer. Okay, one common question. Okay, we will do. Do this question so that all the research will be covered. Seetal, you asked me the doubt of those who have done. Please do this question. I will clarify Seetal's doubt. Seetal's doubt is where we all do hypothesis testing. Correct, Seetal? Where we all do hypothesis result. Hypothesis testing is where we need to conclude to a point. We have to make a decision, right? This or that. We have to make a decision. In that point, we do hypothesis testing. Okay. So, which all research we are making an objective to be attained. In that research, we do hypothesis testing. Okay. You may have a... Yes, now you got that point clear. Okay. So, wherever we do quantitative type of research, wherever we have an result to be confirmed, there we will be moving towards hypothesis testing. In qualitative research, we will not have hypothesis testing. When I am doing studying about the culture of a people, I will not have any kind of an idea, right? When I study about the history of what has been happened, with one intention I would have read, but after reading I will be having different things I would have been learnt. There I cannot come to this only particular point I am moving towards. I cannot say at the beginning itself, because I will be exploring more and more when I read. So there is no role of hypothesis there. I can generate a new one, like I cannot test the old one. Yes. The answer for this question is very good. I am getting many good answers. C3. Very good. Experimental research. Go with the keywords. Historical. Internal criticism. See, I have told you, right? Primary and secondary so is tapped with the emphasis on the internal criticism. D1. Okay, D1. C2. C2 before A3. The variable is manipulated to see its effect. Wherever we can see manipulation is experimental, we can do manipulation. So A3. Okay. Ex post facto is what? The states of facts and conditions are ascertained. Okay. And C is what? Descriptive is the fact, the state of affairs. P is nothing but the differences are noted and factors are determined. That's all. Clear? Okay. So with this I give you a quick glimpse of what we have seen today, and so that you will be having a clarity. So today we discussed the different types of research, and then types of research we started with the descriptive of self-explanatory idea and ask the questions who, what, where, when and how. Example of descriptive research is census and survey, and it talks about the state of affairs, where I cannot go back and I cannot change anything. It will be just gives you the self-explanatory, and that research is called a descriptive research. And in descriptive we have two types of research. One is longitudinal research, another one is cross-sectional research. What do you mean longitudinal research? I will be doing the research over the period of time of one variable, and that I call it as a longitudinal research. Example, take a pregnant woman. It is she will be studied from the day 1 to the end of the delivery, right? So over the period of time that woman has been studied, and that is longitudinal research. Cross-sectional research means what? I'll be going to a mall. I want to study about the people purchase behavior. So I'll be getting into the mall by 9:30. By 12:30 I'll be leaving. With that time I'll be getting all sorts of collection, all sorts of people interacting and get the details. So that is only one time interaction with all different kinds of people, and it is cross-sectional. Cross-sectional means different age groups will be there, different gender will be there. That is cross-sectional research. Next one is fundamental research. Fundamental research is a basic research where we give addition to the knowledge. It is there already in the universe, but now I have found out outside and I have given a meaning of bulb. Okay, I have added many components and I have given a word called bulb. So I have addition to the knowledge, and it will be mostly academic in nature, and it is extensive in nature too. And this type of research we call it as what? Fundamental or a basic research. And this fundamental research, what will be happen is it will be applied to some area, and that application we call it as a applied research. Why? Because there will be I have found out something. The basic research will be there. Whenever I want to apply it to the society, whenever the problem comes from the society, this particular product can be applied with the different forms. It can be applied. So applied research is a solution to the problem faced by the society, and it will be an innovation. Already is been there. I am innovating the product and I will be giving it to the society. That is innovation. Practical use to solve a problem is applied research, and it is intensive in nature. Whenever I want to enhance something, I'll be using enhancing, right? Innovation is what? Already there is a bulb, and now I'm going to enhance something. I'm going to enhance something, right? That is called as a applied research. And next comes ex post facto research, means it applies in the social sciences area. When there is a business, I want to do some kind of an analysis of the last month sales report. So I'll just take the sales report Excel sheet, I'll be doing the analysis and I'll be giving the report. This much sales has been done so far. Here no possibility of variables can be done. I cannot manipulate the variables, I cannot change the values, because it has been happened before. It has been happened before, and now I am doing the research after the fact. Okay, another keyword for this one is after the fact. The fact has been happened, and then next I am doing it's after the fact. Next one is exploratory research. Exploratory research means what? We start with a little understanding and we move deep into it with having some some knowledge, and we move more into it and we gain better understanding of the particular context. Okay, so we gain good background information, we'll be having a clarity, we'll be developing a hypothesis, right? And this gives you the expanded things of what you know little, and for that we will be doing a feasibility study or a pilot study before getting into a exploratory study, right? Next one is historical study. Historical and ex post facto both are similar, but in what case it differs is it has some historical value of what we are going to study which happened in the past. The keywords are past events and internal criticism. Okay, right? Historical research. Then next comes experimental research. It's a science-based research. Here it works on cause, effect, and manipulation of variables is possible in experimental research. It works under a controlled environment, where there before we were studying the ex post facto and all, there is no kind of controlled environment because it has been happened before. Here everything happens in a controlled environment. And then we move to quantitative and qualitative. quantitative that we work with the numbers, qualitative with work with words. See, right, descriptive, as we have started in the beginning slide itself, some cases it will be applied in qualitative, in some cases it applies to quantitative. Depends upon the description it has been given, we have to classify as either this qualitative or quantitative. Okay, descriptive, some cases based on the context which have been asked, we can see, we have to say it's qualitative or quantitative. Experimental research is 100% is going to be a quantitative type of a research, because it's going to work with the numbers, and surveys and correlations all comes under the quantitative type of research. Qualitative type of research, whenever we work with the words, whenever we work with the feelings, right, we call it as qualitative. See, historical research is a qualitative type of research. Here it talks about the historical event happened before. Ethnography research, the culture of people. When I want to study about the culture of people, I talk about ethnography. Phenomenological research means what? I go and talk to a people who have undergone a phenomena. Tsunami overcome the people, right? I go and talk to them how you felt, now how you are surviving after this big phenomenon happened. When I talk to them, that type of research is phenomenological research. Grounded theory means I want to know about the people and go deep into the point and I do the research, right? That is called a grounded theory. So these are the major classification of quantitative and qualitative type of research. Okay, I hope these are the points. Important methods and types of research has been asked the past all 3 to 4 years of questions, right? Definitely you will have a question from this methods and types of research. Do join at app at 8 p.m. today, 8 p.m. at Unify Study app to get the one day 1 DI concept and more PYQs from these topics of the latest pattern. Okay, do join at Unify Study app at 8 p.m. tonight, so that you will be getting more PYQs of latest pattern from these topics of methods and types of research. If you want to have more details, do check unifystudy.com, or in the description we will have given the link. Please do check. Meet you back again at 8 p.m. at app, and tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. at the same Unify Study platform. Thank you so much. Tata, bye bye. Yes.